Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar vs. Trevor here, joined by Thomas as always. And today we're talking about some trailers. We got Sofia Coppola's latest, Priscilla, which has been invited to Venice, which is quite interesting. Could be another massive A24 contender. We also got Drive Away Dolls, which is the first narrative feature from Ethan Coen singularly. Only done, co-directing stuff with his brother before. But branching off on his own, and it's supposedly the first in the trilogy of lesbian B movies. So yeah. And then we unfortunately have Dumb Money by Craig Gillespie and that dumpster
We'll
fire.
get to that one.
Anyways,
We'll get to that
let's
one.
let's talk about Priscilla. You have opening thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it was a short trailer. It was very much a teaser trailer, and it very much delivered on the sort of this A24 aesthetic. It looks visually quite interesting. It looks like they're exploring themes that were unexplored, let's say, in Baz Luhrmann Elvis film.
Yes,
Yeah,
potentially
it
about
looks like a
some
very
problems with
female-focused
Elvis.
take on
Yeah,
the story. It feels like a very female-focused take on the story. I mean, it's Sofia Coppola. I like most of her work. I mean, I don't like the
I'm a
Ring,
pretty
but
big Jesus, Mike.
yeah,
I'm a pretty big
but
Sophia fan. I like her a lot.
yeah, sure. And like this seemed interesting. As I say, it looks visually pretty special. I'm still a bit baffed as to Jacob Elordi's casting as Elvis. We'll have to see how that actually plays out. I don't know. I just personally, I don't see it whatsoever. We'll see though. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I am
Sure.
quite excited for this film. I I'd say both of us famously weren't the biggest fans of Baz Luhrmann's Elvis.
No.
Um, I am very generally just a much bigger fan of Sofia Coppola than I am Baz Luhrmann. I like a lot of Sofia Coppola's work. I've been excited for getting a new Sofia Coppola film. Yeah, and I think that this is a great project for her to tackle. There's been some controversy around it just because the Elvis Presley estate was like, we don't like this, we're disowning it, blah, 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 blah. Which makes sense because then Priscilla was like, no, this is great. It's because it's an adaptation of Priscilla's memoir. And
Yeah.
it definitely details a lot of the questionable things that Elvis did, such as the 24 and 14-year-old age gap between them when they first met.
Yeah.
And it talks about some of Elvis's abusive tendencies and all of those things that Baz Luhrmann's film just kind of glazed over and we'll just forget
Yeah.
about those for this little bit.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of the stuff that the Baz Luhrmann Elvis, and I know we shouldn't compare them, they're two completely separate pieces, but it's kind of hard not to when they're this close to each other.
So yeah.
Yeah, such close succession. And it seems like everything that we were kind of looking at Baz Luhrmann's Elvis and being like, oh, you just are leaving that. Okay, I guess we're just not talking about that. It seems like that is the entire plot of this film and just focusing on all of the forgotten moments, shall we say, of
Yeah.
Elvis's history.
Yes. I guess the moments that could have been used instead of having Tom Hanks there. Like, very glad we're not having Tom Hanks playing
To,
whatever
to
he's
have,
doing.
yeah, yeah,
To cut
just
that out,
a more
add the more
nuanced
interesting
take.
elements.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard, but
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, no, I'm quite excited for this film. Very excited to see what Kaylee Spaney can do. I'm listen again. I'm giving Jacob Elordi the benefit of the doubt. We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, overall, very excited. Very, very excited to see what happens here. I mean, Jacob Elordi could have a huge year because he's in this. He's also like kind of the co-lead of Saltburn alongside Barry Keoghan. So
is
like,
he? Is he? I mean,
yeah,
I will say, this does feel like Kaylee Spaney's sort of baby. It feels
yes.
like this is a star vehicle for her. But actually, no, I mean, I'm sure it's Elvis's wife, so we'll be getting a lot of Elvis, but I don't actually know how much he will actually factor into the film or how much he will actually have to do in this film.
Yeah. I mean, it could be about as much as I mean, Olivia DeJonge was in Elvis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, overall, very, very excited for this. As far as awards for this, I mean, I know people have talked about Kaylee Spaney. I know, friend of the channel, Adriano, feels pretty strongly about Priscilla being a thing. Or at least the last time I checked his predictions, and I'm not entirely convinced just because of how stacked A24, like they already have Past Lives and Zone of Interest. And yes, there's everything that like maybe Zone of Interest just isn't a thing. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know
Yeah.
what
I
we're
honestly
looking at.
think that this is really the only sort of thing would be Kaylee Spaney, in actress. I really think that
Yeah.
would probably be it. And even so, I don't imagine she'd pick up many precursors. Like it's not going to be a Globes thing. It's not going to be SAG necessarily, like Critics' Choice potentially. But it feels like
Yeah.
maybe the sort of thing that the Oscars just randomly pushed to the forefront.
Maybe it gets
So,
like a
potentially.
BAFTA. Maybe she gets
Yeah,
BAFTA or
exactly.
something.
Maybe it gets like one and then gets it.
Yeah, but like even then, I feel like we're stretching. I really just gotta see, like we really just have to see reviews with this first. But like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's like maybe it's writing for Sofia Coppola, maybe, but like the screenplay
Maybe.
categories are like I don't know. Well, it's interesting. This is adapted screenplay, and adapted screenplay isn't the strongest as of now. So maybe like we should at least have this in our top 15 for adapted.
Yeah, potentially. And it is going Venice as well. Let's not forget you mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
very
As long
fun.
as they accept, which I don't know why they wouldn't,
Oh,
but.
yeah.
And you'd assume that they hit like Telluride after that and like New York as well. Like I feel like this could be making the rounds. So yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's talk about Ethan Coen's Drive Away Dolls. I'm excited. Okay. It's very, very campy. And I know, Thomas, we've talked that like, that camp doesn't always work for you. It typically works for me. I'm a very big fan of camp. I mean, of all degrees, I'm a huge fan of John Waters and all of that type of stuff. And like, I mean, we'll see what he does with this, but like, it's a stacked cast. I'm excited to see Ethan Coen venturing off on his own. It's very interesting to see, like, after I don't know if they're like split permanently, like
Yeah, I don't
our
know
mom and
what's
dad
up
getting
with
back
that.
together. We're,
But
we're
I guess they're going their own separate ways, which is, fine. I think that the
yeah,
latter sort of Coen brothers films that they did together were the weaker ones. I feel like they were getting
yeah.
slightly weaker. So yeah, I guess it's good that we're getting a breath of fresh air between them.
It is
They're going their separate ways. They're doing their individual projects. They're doing the projects that are really appealing to them. I guess, which is
it
interesting
is
because this does seem like a
really
passion
weird.
project, which is
Yeah. Well, so did
good. Like
Macbeth.
yeah, exactly. They seem like they're going for their passion projects, and I think you can tell that within the sort of
Hmm.
tone that this trailer was establishing. And like as you said, I don't know if this will necessarily entirely work for me, just the sort of comedic style what they seem to be going for. But it does look interesting and it does look unique and it does look like there is a vision behind it.
Yes, and I've read part of the screenplay. Whenever there's like screenplays out, I don't want to read the entire thing, but I try to read like a little bit just to kind of get a vibe of what this is going for. And it seems really fun. Like it seems very punchy, very just exciting, very energetic, very 90s. And like the cast stacked. We got Margaret
Yeah.
Qualley, we got Beanie Feldstein, Coleman Domingo's here, Pedro Pascal, Matt Damon, Geraldine Viswanathan. I think that's how you say her name. Apologies. But like it's a very, very full cast. Also, Miley Cyrus is in this apparently. Like it's huge. And it just seems like I don't know. It's the type of film where you can just even just from the trailer and tell that everybody on set was just having the time of their life. I don't know. It seems like it will have a really, really fun energy.
Yeah, it seems
We
very energetic is the word I'd
yeah,
use to describe this trailer, I guess. Energetic, which is very much interestingly a far cry from what I would describe Tragedy of Macbeth as.
right.
Like it's very interesting to see how vastly different paths these directors have seemed to go. I
Yeah.
mean, like we mentioned off there that Joel Coen seemed very much a directing one. I mean, he directed films like Fargo on his own. Ethan was much
Yeah.
more seems to the sort of writer of that
Writer.
duo. So it's interesting. I think this does lean like it feels like more of a screenplay heavy film than like Macbeth,
Yeah.
which was lacking in the screenplay. Let's put it that way. But very heavy in the sort of artistic narrative, the directorial.
Yeah.
So
And like I liked Macbeth a lot more than you did, and I think I'm probably going to like this a lot more than you.
potentially.
As far as awards, like I think it's like screenplay tops for this film. If it's like really fun and it does well and people are talking about it, maybe it can hit as like the type of comedy choice like we've seen with something like the Knives Out films, where it's like, oh, this is fun and we'll throw this a bone and it can be like a lone screenplay nominee. Like if anything, it feels like that. But there's already so much camp this year with things like May December and Barbie that I don't know if the Academy will be
Yeah.
able to fit all of that in their brain. But
Yeah,
regardless, it
no,
does
I
look like
agree.
a fun film.
It does look fun. It does look fun. I mean, the release date's also not great for awards, so it's going to have to maintain buzz, which
I mean,
I
late
don't know.
September, it's not
It's not
bad.
like terrible, but
Better than Poor
if you
Things.
want to get a lone screenplay thing, you're gonna need that buzz. And I don't know. This year themes kind of stacked already, and as you say, things that can
Yeah.
fit the sort of camp tone. I guess
It is also interesting that this is Focus, and we have been like, okay, what is Focus going for? Like, I know there's the holdovers, but if the holdovers doesn't necessarily hit,
which it could very well not.
if
I mean,
like
there's a chance holdovers is just people don't like
right,
that at all. So.
there's a chance that it's Green Book. There's also a chance that it's Greatest Bureau Ever. Okay,
Yeah.
and like we really don't know yet, so we'll see. I mean, they're like Astrid City is having like one of the best like performances at the indie box office in years right now. It got like 10 million on its opening weekend wide, which is like really good for an indie film. But like I don't think they're gonna be pushing that. So like I mean, maybe if this does well, then like I don't know. I'm just saying, like with Focus, we should keep our options open right now.
Potentially, there is none of them are necessarily the sort of clear like leader. Like even if the Holdovers gets like middling reviews, it wouldn't be like they wouldn't try and push it. Like it's only if Holdovers is good that would be their front runner. So there is a chance one of these other sort of things could get up and become Focus's main priority. I mean, it could be Asteroid City by the end if it really does maintain its momentum. I mean, the reviews have been, let's say divisive.
Mixed
like
positive.
There are a lot of people who really love it, but yeah, it's mixed positive. But there are also a lot of people who are really hating it. So potentially, like there's a chance that could end up being Focus's main feature, as there is a chance that this one.
Or it's just like there again. Focus is kind of an enigma right now, and I don't really know what to do with it. So it'll be interesting. So Dumb Money.
Yeah.
This looks awful, and I've heard I've heard things from test screening. And obviously take all this with a grain of salt, but apparently the test screenings were awful. It's Craig Gillespie. Did Cruella, did I, Tonya, did Lars and the Real Girl, that has like a pretty decent track record. I am a very big Adam McKay defender. I love The Big Short. I love Vice. I love Don't Look Up. I love them. I think that they're great. I love Adam McKay. Whenever people criticize Adam McKay and all of the things that they say about like his writing style and directorial style, they criticize them. Like this film feels like all of the worst criticisms of Adam McKay put into a film based off the trailer.
Yeah, there is a lot wrong with this trailer. There is a lot wrong. Firstly and foremost, is it a comedy or is it not a comedy? I don't know. I genuinely can't tell based off this trailer. I feel like it's going for a comedic tone, but nothing's funny in the trailer.
Right.
So I genuinely,
based on the cast.
I'm baffed. Based on the cast as well. Yeah. Like you got Seth Rogen, Pete Davidson's there. Paul Dano has done comedic work before. You know, like Vincent it could be a comedy.
Nick Offerman.
But yeah, I genuinely don't know. And it also,
Ramos,
as well, is another big problem with this trailer, is that it's doing that thing where a trailer reveals the whole story. It's like, we need you to see the story, so we're just going to tell you what happens, and hopefully you'll come to see the film.
And to be fair, this happened 2 years ago. To be fair, this did happen 2 years ago.
And there is no story to tell. So those are really the problem. Everyone knows the story already, and there isn't much story there in the first place. So I don't know. Paul Dano, it looks quite bad in it. Like he's a good actor. I don't know, but he doesn't look good in this. He doesn't look good in this at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, the ensemble is crazy for this. Also, like Myala Harold is in this from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Like Talia Ryder is in this. I mean, it's crazy the size of this cast. Dane DeHaan is in it. Like, and they all don't look good.
No, it looks very flat. If for a film that should be, as you say, sort of this
energetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that at all. It doesn't look like that at all, which is worrying. It's very worrying, especially since just left me like Cruella. I wasn't a massive fan. At least it had that energy. At least it had that sort of
I, Tonya as well.
I, Tonya as well. Exactly. But this,
great.
I don't know. Was it studio interference? Was it? I don't know. A whole host of issues seem to be at play with this film.
I also. Okay, here, like people that didn't grow up on the internet shouldn't be making movies about the internet. Like,
don't know if I entirely agree with that.
I shouldn't say like overall.
I understand what you mean about internet movies,
but like just for this film in particular, like I don't know. Like there's a lot of other people I think that could have done something interesting with the story and talked about internet culture in a way that didn't feel like a YouTube ad. I don't know. Like it just
Although I do think, looking at the director's track record, he fits the project. Like it makes sense why he would have chosen a project like this.
No, it does make sense.
I'm not too baffed about why they chose to go with this director. I just don't think this story should have been told at all. I just genuinely think this is a terrible idea.
I guess I can rephrase. Like if you're going to tell the story, you shouldn't tell it like a standard biopic, because you can't tell like internet stories like that, I guess.
No.
And like I don't know. Like there's this. I feel like if you wanted to do this, you should get like a younger filmmaker. you can tell this in a bit more like experimental way, because that's really the only way to tackle the internet in my mind. Like, you can't conform to like standard formalism, I feel, when telling a story about the internet, because then it just feels like really flat and dull. And I feel like you have to like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You like, I mean, again, I don't want to keep, but like, so like with what Burnham did with Eighth Grade, or like, I think is like such a great look. And it's not like he went like crazy experimental with it, but just like his editing choices and his shot selection, and it was all felt very like personal and intimate, while like keeping like the distance between like the characters, and like creating lots of like cold lighting and stuff. And it's like it didn't conform to the standard formalist ideas of what you're supposed to do with the coming of age film, because you can't for that type of story. And it feels like this is trying to do just standard formalism of like an ensemble biopic, and it doesn't work, because it's like you can't do like Moneyball with this. You can't do
because the story at its core can be summarized in about 2 sentences and is not a very interesting story. That it feels
so
like
if you're gonna do this,
I
you have to
like
abstract
Air
it.
more than most. Yeah, I like Air. I'd say more than most people probably watching this channel. Not more than most people in general, I don't think.
Yeah.
But the type of video, I didn't mind Air. The story's not the most interesting, I'll grant it that. This feels like an Air, but with a less interesting story and not even good performances. That's it.
And just imagine that everything with Air. Just imagine that everything with Air happened over the internet, right? That cuts out like 45 minutes to an hour of scenes, right? So then
like
if you're
Matt
going to
Damon
tell
sends an email to Michael Jordan, he's like, yes, sure, again, and that's the film done.
Right. And like there's no traveling, like, and if you'd want to tell a story like that in the internet age, you'd have to do lots of abstraction and spend a lot of like close personal, like intimate time with the characters, and like how they're processing these things, and like trapped alone with the internet. Like there's ways to tell these stories that are interesting, but like, so I shouldn't say like people didn't grow up with the internet, but I guess people who want to conform to like formalist storytelling when dealing with the internet, like, you can't treat it like just anything else, because it brings like the very existence of the internet, if you're going to focus a story around that, adds a completely new dimension that just can't be treated the same as prior stories with a similar tone, I guess.
Yeah. I guess the one thing I would disagree with there slightly is that you said that there is an interesting story here somewhere. I don't think this film would I think this film
I think a better filmmaker, and like we are only talking about the trailer, but like I'm just saying a better filmmaker could have done something differently to try to make it interesting.
Done something slightly more interesting. I still think this story in itself would have been fun.
I agree. No, I do agree with that. And again, we are just talking about a trailer. This movie could be good, I guess.
It's not going to be good.
Based off of everything I've heard about the test screenings being awful, and everything that we've seen with this trailer being awful, everything's pointing to that. This
is it possible to do some like Wall Street bet on stocks against this film? Is that possible? And then maybe make a bit of money out of it eventually.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to come across too negative, and I hope that what I was saying.
We've already done that.
Okay, so like, I hope that what I was saying made some semblance of sense.
Yeah.
Like it'll be really fascinating to see as we start to tell more, even just like biopics type stories taking place across the internet age, and just how different filmmakers do that, because I think a lot of the most unique and interesting visions have come from people that act as like their films act as like an affront to formalism and push back against the standard conventions of the genre that they're working in, and the ones that fail are like this. So we'll see. But I don't know. It feels like a bad SNL skit. Like
yes, and it feels like it should be the length of an SNL skit. So 5 minutes, maybe.
Yep. Right. Well, it's like a minute of it, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Turn next video.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are no Oscars for the, like, imagine this gets like,
no, don't even say maybe. Nothing.
Actor.
No.
This won't get anything. Like, if anywhere, SAG or Golden Globes would be like, oh, we like Seth Rogen. I don't know. Like,
they've got Air though. Air is that film.
Yeah, Air is the one where they're like, oh, we like these people. They're a boring movie.
I know you like Air. At least Air might be shutting out of this from any potential.
That's true. Yeah. Anyways, those are our thoughts on some of the trailers this week. If you want to hear more, also Challengers happened, we did a separate video for that. You can go watch it. If you want to hear more of our thoughts throughout the week about different Oscar news, we're doing lots of stuff with YouTube Shorts, so make sure that you're keeping up to date with that. Talking about all different awards news for the Oscars, the Emmys, and the Grammys. We'll have more stuff coming here, plenty of reviews and predictions, all of the things. The Bears 2, Asteroid City, Indiana Jones 5, all those types of things. Yeah. Anyways, thank you everybody so much for watching. Stay safe. You can find all of our links and stuff in the description. And until next time, goodbye.